Beauty has to be in contemporary art because beauty has a force and power to make people think in a different way. I think what I do with my work is I seduce people with aesthetics, and then they come close by, and then you have the hooks from ethical values.
Jan Fabre art is very unique, and it is something that will fit perfectly with the Hermitage collection. His various techniques, his various messages, and the way he thinks and creates. Jan Fabre, he's one of the best artists in the world, in my view.
Well, you know, Catherine the Great was the one who was buying contemporary art, so it's nothing new for us. It's in principle, this is the scheme of Hermitage. Contemporary is in Hermitage, and it becomes classical. New contemporary comes, and it's all one part of this one body. It's a universal museum, vertical and horizontal.
The performance I did was starting from the gate, and I walked with the armor. The armor was also, I designed the armor as a kind of insect. It's a kind of warrior insect. It's one of the first chemical warriors in the world. This insect sprays chemical things, and that was my suit, my skin. And the basic idea from the performance was I kissed all objects about beauty. Vases, paintings, particularly a lot of paintings in the space where I show my work. And for sure not, let us say, it was not a glorification of power, because the building, of course, represents power. So on purpose, I only kissed the objects of beauty.
Beauty as a term is overused and overestimated, and now is something related more to the kitsch, more to the art market rather than art itself. Jan's idea was that contemporary artist is somebody who is not coming to the white cube and bringing his own personality, but as a warrior, it is somebody who protects the old masters, who protects the old creativity from being destroyed by contemporary art as well, by the barbarism of our days and so on.
When I came here 3 years ago, when I got the invitation, I chose immediately for the section of the Flemish masters, because they're my masters. I mean, I was educated. I was living next to Rubens. My father took me to the Rubens house when I was a small boy. I'm still influenced by Rubens, by Jurmisch Bosch, by Bruegel. They inspire me. When you look to paintings from Bruegel and Bosch, they're sometimes more avant-garde than a lot of contemporary art. That's the reason my exhibition opens with me as a dwarf standing in front of a classical painting and bleeding out of my nose. To study them, but also to clean myself.
According to Jan Fabre, do a special project for the Hermitage. It's like a big butterfly sitting on the ground of St. Petersburg.
The body of the butterfly is the performance I did a couple of months ago here, Love is the Power Supreme.
One wing is old wing, the wing of Winter Palace. Another wing is general staff where we are now, the new wing of the museum. And the Alexander column is like a spine, attaches this butterfly to the ground.
And within the Hermitage, of course, there is this night hall. Is exactly the hall where the title of the exhibition is commented, being Jan Fabre, Knight of Despair, Warrior of Beauty. And it's a hall filled with armory. Very beautiful Italian armory, by the way.
Hermitage is a very interesting place and a very strange place because it's not only the symbol of collection of art, but it's a palace where the Russian Tsars lives. From here, the whole empire, the whole country was ruled. And it's here where the revolution happened and when the Soviet regime was established. It is here when one of the biggest collection of artwork was assembled.
The Hermitage is probably the most beautiful museum in the world. It contains over 3.5 million objects. It doesn't even know how many objects there really are.
It's a living place, it is mystical place where some Tsars died, where Tsars were born, where they were baptized, where they get married. Now it is a state museum, but it still has lots of private stories, private narratives that are all around. Basically, by inviting the artists, we create new stories.
There is so much to see. So much has been said by so much excellent artists from the past that it's really complicated, if not impossible, to add a new content. So this is the first source of despair and of conflict for a contemporary artist.
The condition working with Jan Fabre was that we don't remove artworks. We can switch them around, we can reposition them, but we don't remove them from the room. So we keep the old collection as it is, and we just introduce Jan Fabre in between.
So, for example, they brought the Van Dijks up. I mean, masterpieces Van Dijks. They brought them, flew them up, especially for my work. They restored, especially for me. They got paintings out of the stockage that was never shown before. I mean, they brought a masterpiece of Jacob Jordaens. They brought it up to install one of my works. I took Rubens's away, re-hanged the Rubens space for my installation with the new blue works. So in that sense, it's amazing. Fantastic combination. And what you want, so that we hang it first the paintings, and then the Salvator Mundi, or first Salvator Mundi? Salvator Mundi, yes? Okay.
In the Apollo room, Christ sacrificing himself for the sake of the world, a Christ blessing from the early 16th century, where we see a Christ holding the world in his hands and blessing. You have the passion of the artist who bears really this need and this urge to speak up, to take the lead, to take the road as a pilgrim on his own, knowing he will fail and he will publicly fail most of the time. The hope of the artist is to save the world through stimulating the viewer to stand up, to verticalize himself. This is the idea of the spine, and to generate spirituality.
There are paintings here, for example, the Snyder's space. It's one place in the world you can see so many Snyders on group together. That's unique.
There are 5 shops, fruits of fish and so on, and 5 hunting scenes. This, for Jan, it is something else. It whole tells him kind of hymnus of vanitas, you know, solemn song of vanitas. Interpret this as vanitas by introducing small skulls here and there, holding brushes, holding dead animals. So the skull is a symbol of vanitas, as a symbol of this inconstance of the world, the fluctuation of the world as it is. And it's all about illusion, by the way.
We have the masterpieces of Bacchus in Antwerpia. It's a homage from Rubens to Antwerp, and it's hanging in Russia. And that is very exciting, of course, to see.
His intervention in the Rubens gallery is a play with Rubens, but we didn't remove any Rubens from the room. We just move it left and right and put blue panels in between. Now Rubens is seen completely different only because of this contrast.
Jan Fabre has asked 3 actors and dancers as to model for him in positions which are quoting the positions of Baccho and Christ and Antwerp on these paintings, and afterwards he has locked them up, as to say, in the hour blue. And so the hour blue refers to the moment in nature when the animals of night have gone to sleep, and before the day animals have come to life. So it's a moment of total silence, of perfect symmetry. It's a sublime moment in nature, and it's the moment in which the metamorphosis starts operating. And maybe it's even a moment of death. But soon, out of the hour blue, new life will be crawling up, a new space, a new time will develop. It's only after a closer look that you can feel, guess, that there is a body crawling out of the hour blue. For Jan Fabre, you know, the body is really the key to reading his oeuvre, whether it be theater or visual art. It's the key intuition in his whole artistic parcours.
Van Dyck was very quickly, he was connected to all the rich. Queens, princesses, he went to the courts of England, painted all the rich people over there, the counts, kings. And I said immediately, I would like to a dialogue but also reaction. I was thinking like, my queens, they're my women who I like, my partners in crime, friends, deep friends who are loyal, who are for me also princesses and queens in my imagination. Barbara, Els, Ivana, Maria, Joanna, they all are crowned by these small hats who represents a kind of carnival sign, the vitalism of Belgium. So now the Van Dyck, all these kings and queens and princesses are hanging up, and down you have these model pieces from, let us say, common people, common ladies. And then on top in the middle you have the future Queen of Belgium, Elizabeth. So it's almost like the women power. And in this society where women are treated in sometimes such a bad way, it's such a male society, the Russian society, and they're even proud on it.
By crowning his private queens with a festive hat, he crowned them into a new royalty, which for Jan is understood as freedom. Because freedom for the artist is the ultimate feature of beauty.
When you watch into your mirror, when you watch yourself into your mirror, can you look to yourself? You think you can look to yourself, but you never can look to yourself. So a self-portrait is always a peeling off of different masks. I'm an idiot, I'm a clown, I'm a dictator, I'm everything. Because we humans, we are not only one person. We are different personalities. I mean, don't forget there's a strong tradition in the Flemish painting of self-portraits. Rubens made a lot of self-portraits. And so making a self-portrait is essentially always making somebody else. You look to yourself, you get gray hair, you get more wrinkles, you get a small belly, your skin is hanging. So we humans are constantly in a state of metamorphosis. I drive on intuition, instinct and intelligence. And I never think about irony, essentially. I never think even about humor. It's by the seriousness that inside in the hardcore, in the cell, the irony comes inside. Otherwise, irony can become a very tongue-in-cheek and an easy weapon. You know, I'm intelligent, I'm ironical. It doesn't work with me like this. I'm a very serious artist, but by probably the seriousness, there's deep down inside a cell of humor, a cell of irony. And that is always revealing itself when the work is finished, or the work is in dialogue, or the work is revealed by the spectator and finished by the spectator. This work, this Rubens, was more than 80 years on the roll. And it was in the stockage and nobody knew the existence of it. And I especially wanted to combine it with the piece from me, Umbraculum, a place far away from the busy life, in the shadow, remote, to essentially to think and to reflect, to contemplate. These old machines, they refer to industrial pastime. The objects who are flying in the space here, floating, they are all objects that people need when they lose arms, legs, when they cannot walk anymore. And essentially these two monks, they are spiritual travelers with an outer skeleton. So these monks, they cannot wound themselves anymore. They cannot lose their legs or their arms. They cannot have stigmatas anymore. And it's all made by sewing small pieces of human bones and animal bones. And it's also referring to the lace of Bruges, Bruges lace. So this space is floating between past time, present time, and a kind of futuristic time. And that's the reason I also wanted this Rubens inside. It's forgotten, masterpiece, brought back almost. That I, to say, make a leap into the future. It is to reveal this again. The parcours with the carnival drawings. This one painting of Breugel, the young one, the painting called Kermis. You could say a kind of glorification of being Flemish in Belgium. They're gambling, they're cheating, they're throwing up, they're drinking, they're dancing, all the good, bad things of life. It's amazing because when you look down to the Italian paintings, so Spanish or French, same moment. This is all the glorification of power. And in the Flemish painting is always the glorification of the noble being, common person.
Carnival is the feast of flesh, it's the feast of lust, it's the feast of excess, and there is this couple of days of total abundance. But an artist doesn't have to wait for this period. He can play with social codes and with how society works. He can always play with this. This series is a celebration of the absurdism of this tiny country of Belgium.
In the carnival drawings, a lot of subversive elements inside, but essentially what's almost, you could say, in today Russia is almost forbidden.
What is very typical from Belgian Carnival, and it's known worldwide, is the Gilles de Binge. They throw oranges in the public whilst they are doing their parade. Jan Fabre makes clearly a reference to Gilles de Binge, but this man doesn't hold an orange, he holds a grenade. It's kind of lying drawings because of the technique of drawing and overdrawing, so you cannot see anymore what is authentic and what is a copy.
In that sense, I could have good dialogues with the curators, that they feel that I know a lot, and that's the reason I could kind of Trojan horses inside with small fireworks inside. Here, this side is the carnival of the dead street dogs. They're all animals I found on the highway, because there was this years, now it's getting lesser, but people often they bought dogs. Then the big vacation came, and then they put a dog on the highway, or the cats, and then they were killed on the highway. So I was collecting the cadavers. I am a street dog as an artist also. And because it's like in society, they like artists until we make it a little bit difficult. Then we put aside in the society, then we're kicked out. Like a lot of people do with dogs and cats. I found also here in the Stockage a very important Flemish painter. Her name is Emiksen. You can imagine, 15th century, she was a painter, was not really accepted. The cats are scratching on the glass like almost complaining ladies.
I gatti sono un simbolo storicamente legato al lato oscuro, al lato demoniaco, spesso rappresentano la donna, le streghe, il gatto nero. E così Jan Fabre celebra, al contrario, l'indipendenza e l'intelligenza delle donne rappresentando questi gatti. Questa galleria dell'Hermitage ospita dipinti di paesaggio, di animali e scene di caccia della pittura del secolo d'oro olandese. Proprio per questa galleria Fabre ha realizzato una serie di 21 piccoli disegni in cui sono presenti degli animali. Fabre sostiene che gli animali siano i migliori dottori e filosofi al mondo. Queste illustrazioni ricordano le illustrazioni delle favole, che avevano uno scopo educativo e hanno tuttora uno scopo educativo. Ci dicono di stare attenti a ciò che vediamo, perché lo straniero potrebbe essere un lupo, o a non fidarci dell'apparenza. Jan Fabre ci dice: state attenti perché quello che vedete non è un dolce gattino. Gli artisti manipolano la realtà, creano paesaggi ideali che non esistono. E allo stesso modo Fabre crea delle falsificazioni, prendendo delle figurine per bambini da collezione, immagini rassicuranti, giochi graziosi, e cambiando alcuni dettagli all'interno, aggiungendo o togliendo elementi. Sono come delle praline al veleno, confezionate all'interno di cornici dorate con dei passepartout di velluto rosso, per entrare all'interno del codice ufficiale delle case borghesi o della fortezza dell'Hermitage.
It's a long story, and coming back to the 18th century, when the Winter Palace was built, it appeared to be lots of rats in the basement. Catherine the Great, the Tsarine, she was advised to bring cats that will kill all rats. So there's an ongoing tradition that we're happy to keep now.
Можно их, да, взять?
And of course, what Jan does here, anyhow, on purpose or not, comes into the dialogue with this existing tradition. And his installations with cats next door and his drawings in the Winter Palace are very much appealing to this. And everybody here in Russia reads this immediately, because Hermitage and cat is something that not synonymous, but very much close to each other. Every day many people come to the museum, make their records, make their understanding. Some people come for the Hermitage only once in their life, and they remember it forever. It's a very interesting milestone in the cultural map of Europe. It really shows and protects the European culture in its eastern border. So for us, it's a very important moment to reconsider this collection and this history again and again. And contemporary artists helps us to review, to reconsider, to see it from different eyes, from different perspectives.
That's correct.
I myself believe that an object of beauty is a joy forever, and that we don't necessarily, because we live in the 21st century, we have to get away from the Greek idea of kalogagatia. Kalos, the beauty, and agathos, the goodness, can be found together in an object of beauty. But it can stink a little, definitely, because good art always smells a little.
Not in front, here, this side.
Okay, let's do it now.
love is the power supreme. Love is always conquering. Because I believe that my art, it's at the same time a kind of a complaining, a subversivity, but always tries to find reconciliation. And love does this. Love is always about reconciliation.
Классическим и одновременно монолог современного искусства.
First of all, I would like to thank two noble minds, two free spirits, Mr. Petrovsky and Mr. Oderkov.
Прежде всего, я хотел бы поблагодарить двух замечательных, благородных людей, господина Петровского, господина Озеркова, за то, что они предоставили мне возможность организовать выставку в этом замечательном.
And I want to thank all the people from the staff.
Всем спасибо.